Hey guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rick Ucchino. I'm a contributor here at Sportskeeda. If you're watching this video right now, good chance you know who the man to my left is. He is the former NXT Tag Champ, former NXT World Heavyweight Champion, the resident ass kicker on the black and gold brand, and the man with the best beard I've ever seen in my life. I'm jealous of that thing, to be honest with you. I wish I could do it. I can't. He is Tommaso Ciampa. How are we doing, sir?
What a hell of an intro. I appration that.
I have my own radio show. I have a little bit of practice.
Well,
so,
done, sir.
I appreciate it. So I kind of want to start here just talking about you a little bit. About 4 months removed from your injury, you've been back in the ring now. You're coming off of a very physical matchup with Adam Cole at TakeOver Portland. Just, how are you feeling right now health-wise?
Good now. It's rough after the match in Portland. It's actually ironic that in 2 days when we're in Detroit, March 7th, that's going to mark exactly 1 year from neck surgery. So if you had told me then that at this point I would have already been back 5 months, I would have already had a couple takeovers under my belt, a Worlds Collide, a Survivor Series. It's something I definitely didn't envision at the moment. My goal was simply to get back prior to WrestleMania 36 in Tampa. So I'm ahead of schedule. I feel good. And I mean, everybody on the team has just been contributing and helping this whole process along, from my surgeon to the medical team and the staff at the Performance Center and everybody. So it's like we just took it slow, and I know it probably seems like we took it fast, but we took it slow. We let everything heal, and knock on wood or my head, because that's the closest thing I got. And yeah, it's going much better than I anticipated.
Now, have you had to change your style up in the ring at all? I've heard Daniel Bryan say before he's coming back from an injury. There were certain moves that he took out of his repertoire, different ways that he had to, kind of adapt, to keep health as a major factor. Have you had to change anything up since your return?
I'd say yes, but I think anybody who watched TakeOver Portland would tell me I'm a liar. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a hypocrite if I say yes. I try to pick and choose my moments, I guess. And, it's a risk-reward ratio. And my schedule's slightly more limited, I'd say, than prior to surgery. But even with that said, over the last month or so, it's ramped up quite a bit in 2020. This is my, I think, 6th consecutive weekend on the road, and I still have a couple more to go. And that's doing TV's Wednesday, and then 3 days, three days plus a travel day a week on the road. So I don't know. I think it's just it's more about what I'm doing outside the ring. As far as I've always been pretty good about my shoulders and my knees, because I've had those repaired, and then now I've kind of smartened up a bit about the neck and how much I just wasn't taking care of it for 15 years or so, to the extent of how I am now. Whether that means heating it before matches, doing some different exercises. I bought some good neck equipment for my home gym and stuff. So it's more about what I'm doing outside the ring to just put myself in a better position for when I'm inside the ring.
How much longer do you want to be an in-ring competitor?
I haven't put a lot of thought into it. I want to at least do it until financially I feel comfortable. I have a little girl at home who's about 1.5 years now. So the idea is that I don't want her to worry about some of the stuff I worried about growing up, when she's 16 and wants a car, when she wants to go to college, when just life happens.
Right.
I'd like to have a life happens fund for myself, my wife, and my little girl. So I don't know that there's a timestamp on that, but I think when the time's right, I'll know it's right. I'm pretty well aware of the abuse I've put myself through every morning when I wake up. So we're in maintenance mode right now, but I don't know. I mean, I could easily see myself getting to 40 and saying, oh, maybe we're going to slow down, but I feel, for all the surgeries I've had and everything, I feel incredible right now. So it's hard for me to see an end game to this. And like everybody says in wrestling, I don't know that you ever retire, right? I don't know that you've ever, look at Edge. I don't know that you've ever had your last match. So,
Ric Flair's had about 400 last
400.
matches.
Terry Funk comes to mind every time I think of it, or even, Mick Foley or something. I think it's more about slowing down than it is stopping. I see myself doing that. I don't see myself walking away from the business. I see myself partaking, whether it's behind scenes or whatever. Even Shawn Michaels, who actually retired and went away, came back.
Yep.
So I see myself, once you're bit by the bug, that's it. You're in,
Yeah. Now, you talk about never really leaving the business. Triple H spoke with Corey Graves on his podcast in December and had high praise for you, said you would make one heck of a coach and one heck of a producer. To hear somebody like Triple H say that, about, your knowledge of the business and, the ability to teach young kids, what does that mean to you?
I haven't heard that until now, so that's pretty cool of him. I tend to shut the business off when I'm outside the business, so to the best of my ability. But that is very kind of him. I feel like I've definitely taken on to him as his a mentor type thing, and it's just one of those things. We have a very similar mind for this. There's so many different flavors of ice cream and so many rights and very few wrongs in this business. Him and I Hunter and I just seem to have a very similar vision of what professional wrestling is. So that's cool of him to say. And it's, through the injuries and stuff during the time off, him and so many others have really helped facilitate me and kind of keep my brain working. I go to a company called Evolve, and I do a lot of backstage stuff trying to produce and help out there with those guys. It's kind of like, you saw Austin Theory's here now with NXT, and he's a guy for the last year I kind of work backstage with and behind the scenes with, and that's cool. I like that part. I've always been a big fan of the process. I love the process of this. I love just brainstorming, sitting, talking about how we're going to get the story across, talking about the vision, talking about how we're going to paint the picture, and throwing so many ideas at the wall and just kind of picking which one might be the best. So it's cool to think that of all places in this industry, that WB just tends to be the one that I've kind of fell into that role with. So it's not a bad spot to be in, and just kind of try to keep my head down, keep working hard, and hopefully that does happen, when the time's right.
Sure. So let's talk about the show a little bit. Wednesday nights has become, the hot night for wrestling. And good, bad, and indifferent, it's always talked about. That's, if you're on social media, obviously it's hard for you to do that during the show. But just talking about the move to USA and now going up against direct competition, have you seen what have been the biggest changes so far to the show, whether it be creatively or the attitude in the locker room since the move to USA?
Yeah, it's crazy to just look back. I think I've been with NXT for almost 5 years, and it's insane to just think that I watched TakeOver Arrival at home on a phone, or not on the road on a phone, I should say. And thinking back then, man, I got to get there. And just wanting to get on TakeOver. And then when you're on TakeOver, you start to see the bigger arenas. Well, I want to sell one of those out. And then you do that. And then you're part of Mania weekends in New Orleans and stuff like that. We just kept having these milestones that we hit where it was like, man, how this is getting hot. We'd be doing these live events, and oh shoot, we sold this weekend, man. We sold out Columbus, Cleveland, and Detroit clean, and that just kept happening, and it just became a thing where okay, the network is getting more and more subscribers. There's no way of saying how much NXT contributed to that, but we knew we were contributing.
Sure, yeah.
And then obviously AEW coming into fruition and becoming a real player. And it's just it's so many things lined up the right way with them falling on Wednesday nights and USA wanting to go all in and put more wrestling on their on their station. So it's been crazy to see how fast all this has developed. It's definitely changed the TV days. For instance, just for quite a while, we were used to going to Full Sail once a month to once every 6 weeks, filming a whole lot of stuff. And I think in that scenario, when you're writing a television show, on the backstage part of it, you have this vision and you're playing out your vision no matter what for 4 weeks in blocks at a time. Because there is no instant, this is working or not working. You kind of telling the whole story at once, and then you're sitting back and, well, let's see how they react. Let's see how this plays out. Now, every week things can happen, whether it's an injury or something catches fire. You look at a guy like Keith Lee or Rhea Ripley, the ability to adapt and change has become more of a forefront player. Timing has become such a issue, good and bad, of all right, 10:03 p.m. we're off air, or we have a little leeway this week, or just all of it. I feel like it's been awesome to watch everybody in the back, including myself, just rise to the challenge. And there's that whole idea of NXT being developmental. That stigma wasn't going to leave us until something like this happened. And I think now that we're on USA, we're doing live TV, there's just no more buts. It's like, no, they're going out there, and they are. The camera's on, the lights are on, and they're performing, and they're hitting their time cues. They're doing everything that you would constitute of as a main roster player. So I think that's the main thing that switch. It's just that developmental stink is just gone, and then the AEW factor. I mean, for me, and I think I could speak for a lot of people, it makes it a little bit more fun. It brings that competitive edge out. I mean, I have friends over there, and I also have people over there I've never met or ever shared a ring with, and it's awesome to see this. Everyone's just elevating their game, and everyone just wants it. I don't know if people say ratings don't matter. It sure as hell matter. You want to win.
Right, exactly. So. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about, maybe some people don't even realize it was you, SmackDown 2005.
Oh, yeah.
First time I believe you were in a WWE ring.
Yep.
I believe you were going by
Thomas Whitney Esquire.
Right, yes. Yeah. And you shared the ring with The Undertaker.
Yeah, wild, man. Yeah.
You looked a lot different back then. Do you remember what your cheeks looked like?
Yeah, I get the before and after comparisons a lot. It's become almost its own meme in a way.
But what was that like for you? Like the first time you're in a ring, you're sharing it with The Undertaker.
Yeah. I guess so many things that have followed me through my career as far as how I handle those situations started then without me realizing at the time. It sounds silly, I guess, I'm not one who gets super nervous as far as the performance part. And I just remember having a very cool, calm, collective type of day. I mean, it was Stephanie McMahon took me for a tour backstage, and kind of her and one of the writers went over my script. I think what also made it very comforting was that I was reading off a piece of paper. They weren't telling me go out there and just memorize this.
Sure.
Plus Undertaker's going to come out and you're going to be awestruck, and so that helped. But it was one of them things at the time I 100% did not realize what I was doing. Now, I mean, if somebody told me tomorrow, hey, you're going to go and do a thing with the Undertaker, I would. The scope of the magnitude of it would be weighing on my shoulders. I would understand what type of opportunity it was. I think when you're 19 or 20, whatever I was just I guess this is what happens. I guess sign up for wrestling school.
Sure, I'll just take a choke slam and a tombstone.
You train for 6 months. You start cutting promos. They're like, yeah, he's doing okay, and then you're just there. So I just didn't grasp. If you think about it. So that was on a SmackDown, and the next time I appeared on SmackDown, and I might be wrong, somebody might correct it, I think was Johnny and I tagging versus Cesaro and Sheamus, and that is 2019 before surgery, so 14 years later. You know what I'm saying? If you told me in 2005 you're doing this thing with Undertaker, but you're not coming back into this ring for 14 years, I don't know if I would have stuck around for that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Getting back in the ring with The Undertaker, something you want to do?
Oh my God, so badly. So badly, yeah. I don't have many dream scenarios or matches or stuff. I mean, him and Edge and Randy and Rey Mysterio are 4 guys that always come to mind anytime I'm asked of current players who it's actually feasible. You could actually make this happen. Those are 4 that are just as current gets. Of course, I'd love to grab Triple H and Shawn and tell them, just lace them up again, man.
Let's go.
Just do it.
That could be Rocky 3 kind of
thing.
Yeah,
you're teasing people. Stop teasing, just do it. I'm here. And hey, Johnny, I know we got what's going on right now, but they tease the DX DIY thing. You don't got to sell either of us on that. So.
Last question for you. Just kind of a little teaser. What can people expect out of this next chapter that you and Johnny are now on?
Yeah, is it chapter 5 or chapter 50? I don't know what it is.
Fight forever, right?
Yeah, we're just tied to one another, and it's again, that's something you asked me 5 years ago, even when we got brought into WWE together, if this would have happened. No one could predict this. We have that that strange Triple H Shawn Michaels connection of anytime we're on screen together, we feel it. Like there's energy. It's you can't put your finger on it type of thing, but there's magic there. I think we're both well aware of it. Whether it's together, which I think goes pretty well, and somehow when we're opposed to one another, it goes even better. We bring out the best in each other. I think we're very competitive. I think it's what it really comes down to. Whether it's dieting or training on the road or just getting in there and performing in front of people on takeovers or television or live events, we're very competitive, and it's an unspoken, I'm going to outperform you. And I think that's what made our feud pretty magical, from Cruiserweight Classic to New Orleans to Brooklyn and so on. Even the tag stuff in DIY is we went out there every time just trying to outperform one another. It had nothing to do with anybody else. And I've always been the type who I just try to make my own performances better. Like I just compare myself to myself. But when he got brought into my life and I got brought into his, it became this like, well, he's not going to let up, and I better bring my game. And we try to, whether that means outsell one another or the intensity or the physicality or anything, we just try to outperform one another.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, we're both very passionate about this place, and NXT did a lot for our careers and our livelihoods. And I think we both just want, when our careers are over, to go hand in hand with this place. We want to be the face of this place. We want to be the ambassador of the black and gold. And that's where we're at right now. I know why he did what he did. He knows why he did what he did. I'm pretty sure everybody knows. I mean, I wasn't the best of friends to him for a while, and I think I'm safe to say he was the best of friends to me. And that's the competitive part. That's when they chanted Johnny Wrestling, he didn't seem to complain. He didn't have any problem, you know. And when they started chanting for Psycho Killer or Daddy's Home, he started to weigh on him a little bit. And I get it, because when they chanted Johnny Wrestling, it bothered me a little bit. And I had to kind of separate us and make my own name for myself and create my own path. So I know where he's coming from, and I respect it in its own way. But I think we both know where this is leading. We've both made some little hints towards it, at least where we want it to lead. And there's only one stage for this to culminate. And I won't even say it's going to culminate, because for as long as we're wrestling, we're going to be attached. But if there's one place to find out who the face of this brand is, I think everybody knows where that place is. And if it happens, then I think you're going to see the very best Johnny Gargano versus the very best Tommaso Ciampa, and the winner is the fans. So I'm as ready for it as I can be.
All right, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time.
Yep.